Some really cool air continues to barrel to the east. We're going to see below normal temperatures continue across the south and the east. And we're going to take a look at the big picture because we're watching several storms slam into Alaska and maybe some snow further to the east as we move through next week, and potentially some cold weather still on the table, I think, for parts of the east. Hope you're doing well on this Wednesday evening here. We're doing a little bit of a different format in the live version here, just in the interest of time. It's kind of been a crazy day, so hold on. Let's just get through this really quickly, and we'll sort of dive into all the regions across the country. This is a look at the European AI. I'm showing this because yesterday we were talking about this, or maybe it was the day before. It was trying to show a northeast snowstorm. This would be the snow through the day above my head. You can see through November 4th. But once we get into next week, the European was trying to show a big snowstorm into the northeast. It's really backed off on that idea. The GFS, though, is trying to show something. The AI is now trying to put something across the northern plains. More on that in just a second. It's not quite cold enough for snow underneath this cold pocket of air that continues to spin here through parts of the deep south, with temperatures well below average here. We may even see a little bit of snow try to mix into the highest elevations of western North Carolina, West Virginia, then on the backside here into the northeast. But these temperatures are going to stay below average through the weekend as this cold pocket of air finally lifts out and it moves into the northeast with temperatures up here, even cold enough to support some high elevation snow. Let's continue to drag this out in time. This is a look at the upper level pattern. Another pocket of cool air dropping in from the northwest across the central U.S. So cool, damp, kind of dreary across Iowa, down into Missouri as we head into the weekend, and that moves into Kentucky and Tennessee. This drops to the south. Your main jet flow is up to the north. This is getting disconnected again, and as it does so, you get it cut off from the main flow. So we're dealing with more cool, damp weather across the south. We just cannot break this weather pattern. Let's talk about the sensible weather as far as the rain goes, also maybe some temperatures too. We'll start off with, let's go with Thursday here. Big storm into the Gulf of Alaska. A lot of wind, rain, and snow up here. It's also been quite windy across the central U.S. As this low pulls away too, winds will spin in out of the north and west. Temperatures will start to drop. We're also watching a weak disturbance. Again, this is the next system that will be dropping south, moving across Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Could bring a few rain and snow showers here, also into parts of North Dakota as this drops to the south. Windy and rainy for the northeast as we head into Friday. Maybe a little bit of snow trying to mix in on the backside. We'll zoom in a little bit closer here in just a second here into the mountains of the northeast. And then here comes that pocket of cold air with cooler temperatures too here into Manitoba, also into Ontario, and that cool air pushing all the way down into parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then we start to see this really start to drop off to the south as we head into the weekend. High pressure, keeping things dry right along the east. Really a lot of moisture moving into British Columbia. More heavy snow possible here over the coming days. And look, if you're in the southeast, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, get used to it. It's going to be cool, damp, and rainy over the next couple of days into the weekend. You may get a bit of a break, but more on the way. This next system drops a little bit further south too across the Pacific Northwest. That brings some heavy snow into the Cascades maybe. Snow levels start kind of high here, but they'll start to come down. And then look, this next storm is a little bit further to the south, so we're starting to see something different today. A bit of a further south storm track. That would put some precipitation into the central Sierra. So Tahoe, maybe some precip on the way, and then this moves east. This is where things get really interesting, in my opinion, because you start to see a lot of divergence. I've been watching the 8th, the 9th, the 10th of November. Yesterday's models were really pulling back on everything. I'm not backing off just yet. I'm watching it. I'm shopping. If you've been on the channel, sometimes, I'll say we're locked and loaded. We're not locked and loaded, but the pattern is starting to get pretty active. We're getting a lot of cold air developing here. Pretty warm across the U.S. I think we get a storm somewhere here. And if you can get a strong enough storm, you're going to start to pull some cold air in on the backside of it. This afternoon's GFS, which I don't know that I believe. I'm just telling you, I don't. It's showing a decent snowstorm across southern Canada, some cold air on the backside of it, with some rain to snow across the Great Lakes, down the spine of the Appalachians into the northeast. A long way to go before we get there. The European, just for kicks, this would be this afternoon's run in that same time period. Drastically different, but you can still see some cooler weather. Definitely the potential for something happening here. More to come. Look at the snow out west. This is the system that's going to move east. It's going to pile up here And then there's that snow as we head into next week, trying to dot parts of the Sierra further to the south. Here's a look at your temperatures heading into Thursday morning as we head into the afternoon. A little bit warmer than maybe what we're seeing today across the northwest. Across the plains, we're back up into the 50s and 60s as we see a little more sunshine as that next system pulls away and we start to see quieter weather, I think, across Arkansas down into Mississippi. Here comes the next system, though, dropping in from the northwest. Yep, that's blue, guys. A little bit of snow dropping in. And maybe, it's not going to be a big snow, but maybe a little bit of snow to bring some precipitation here into parts of Minnesota, Iowa. It's definitely going to be quite cloudy, and this will continue to drive south and east with a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and definitely some cooler conditions across the south over the weekend. Here's a look at your temperatures heading into Thursday. Back up into the 50s, all the way up towards the Great Lakes. We're pulling some warm air north. Another shot of cool air, though. Let's let the temperatures run out here, then we'll move east, pulling some of that cooler weather down into parts of, again, Iowa, down into the Central Plains, and then that cool air pushes all the way down into the deep south as we head into the weekend. So we're going to say goodbye to these 60s, and we're back in the 40s with cloudy conditions from Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Nashville, Knoxville. Underneath this, temperatures held way back. It is cool and damp in the Appalachians today. I can promise you that. And there could even be a few flakes mixing in places like Grandfather Mountain. You get up really high, Mount Mitchell, up into West Virginia tonight, maybe up towards Snowshoe, above 4,000 feet, maybe. I don't know. It's still kind of warm, but there is a pocket of cold air, and it's really moving right here across North Carolina. It's in the 40s with rain. Some areas in the upper 30s. We're trying to see a little bit of snow. There it is, mixing in across the mountains of West Virginia early Friday morning. And then on the backside of this, a little bit of snow mixing in also here on the backside into the northeast. It's not going to be a big deal. And then that pretty much is gone by the weekend as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Here comes that next pocket of cold air. We're looking east now. That continues to spin. Look at the moisture moving into Florida. We're going to get some heavy rain possible on the front side of this. A lot of divergence here in the upper level, so you can see how that air spreads out. So I imagine we're going to see some heavy rain possible across Georgia, South Carolina, up into North Carolina. These upper lows are always difficult to forecast, but that's what the GFS is doing with it. Then it pushes it out to sea pretty quickly. Maybe a quick shot of some cold air heading into the northeast by Wednesday and Thursday with some rain and snow showers way to the north up into the Green and White Mountains, and then really warm. I'm telling you what, guys. It's going to get really warm pretty far to the north as we head toward the middle part and the late part of next week ahead of this next front. If this materializes, this could be a very breezy frontal system that moves through. And then if this happens behind it, it's going to turn really cold. Again, we're looking at over a week. GFS has been strong on this over the last couple of runs. If you go back to last night's run, certainly a bit of a different story, but you still have that front moving through at about the same time. Here's a look at your temperatures heading into Thursday. Another cool one with the clouds and the rain from the northeast into the Appalachians out ahead of this. A little bit warmer out towards the coastal plain of Virginia and North Carolina. And then some cooler weather moves in behind this with temperatures dropping just a little bit. But actually, we may warm up into the mountains with a little more sun back up into the 40s.